Today on the channel, we're talking about capturing a live performance with a singer-songwriter that is playing his acoustic guitar at the same time as singing and being accompanied by an electric guitar player. I'm going to show you where we put all the microphones, where we put the guitar amp in the room, and the stereo room microphone that we used to glue it all together and give it a little bit of ambience and vibe as it was being recorded. Now, we've done videos like this on the channel before. We actually shot a video last year with my friend Clayton Crowder that was a very similar type of content, but it was a much simpler setup. We had just a single microphone on the acoustic and a single microphone that Clayton was singing into, and we used the figure 8 pattern that was built into both microphones to help us achieve the desired result and to give us basically an acoustic guitar and a vocal that we could process independently without a lot of bleed into each microphone. This is going to be similar, but we wanted to go a little bit more complex with the setup because we also added my friend Curtis Leeser playing the electric guitar, and we put the amplifier in the room. This is one take. It's a live performance. There's no doctoring or editing or any fixing. We just wanted to capture a really good sounding live performance of Clayton's original song.
Take me anywhere but there.
What I wanted to do differently in this performance was to have a stereo mic technique on the acoustic guitar, and I don't know if that was exactly the right move because we haven't actually mixed the song yet, but in my mind I was thinking, okay, we're going to have the electric guitar going, we're going to try to make everything sound real stereo and wide with reverb and with the room microphone, and so I think a stereo acoustic could be the right move so that we sort of focus on that vocal right in the middle and then everything else is sort of spread out around it. And so that was my justification for using two microphones on the acoustic, and where I placed them was above and below the acoustic guitar, and then those are panned outwardly, so you have one that's a little bit boomier and you have one that's a little bit brighter, and then they're being panned outward from one another to sort of fake a more stereo sound of the acoustic guitar. And so this is what that pair of microphones sounds like as we recorded them. Now this is really cool because you do end up getting some bleed from Clayton's singing. He's singing as he's playing the acoustic guitar, so you're going to have some amount of bleed. But what's really cool about this that I think happened is that you do have Clayton there singing, but it's a more muffled version where both of these microphones are not facing him. They're both pointed sort of at the acoustic guitar and not directly where his face is at or where he's singing because his head's kind of turned as he's playing. You end up getting this more muffled sound of his vocal, and all three microphones are on the same plane. And so when you add the vocal microphone in, you end up getting a lot more of the clarity and the vocal begins to sound the way that it actually sounds. And we ended up using the same kind of miking technique that we've used before on the channel where we're using a 414 and we're using the figure 8 polar pattern to end up leveraging the null of the microphone so that we don't get very much acoustic guitar in Clayton's vocal performance at all. And so this is really helpful because then we can compress the vocal without bringing that acoustic guitar up a bunch and adding to what's already being picked up by the acoustic guitar microphones. And so here is what the 414 in figure 8 sounds like by itself, and then I'll blend in the acoustic guitar microphones, and you can end up seeing that you'll hear that there's almost no bleed at all from the acoustic guitar in this microphone as it's soloed.
Please don't take me home, 'cause the night feels so alone. Take me anywhere but there. Leave me anywhere, anywhere for now.
Now, all three of these microphones have almost no bleed from the electric guitar amplifier in them. And we used a couple of things to our advantage. First of all, we've got a big room, so we have plenty of space. We put the guitar amplifier really far away from Clayton as he was performing. But I also put a gobo in front of the electric guitar amplifier. So it was about 15 feet away from where Clayton is sitting as he's playing and singing. There's a gobo in front of it, so there's almost no direct sound from the electric guitar flying back into the microphone to end up picking up the electric guitar amplifier in the vocal or the acoustic guitar microphones. The second thing that we did was we just used a small amplifier. This is a Fender Princeton, and it's not turned up very loud. It's set really clean. It's on about 2.5 or 3, I think, in the video, and then we ended up using a reverb and tremolo pedal and a compressor. And Curtis is just sort of playing things that are, more vibey and ambient. He's kind of just picking through chords very lightly. And so there wasn't a ton of bleed because of the distance that the amplifier was away from the other two microphones. But then also, we have that gobo in front of it, so almost no direct sound is coming back into the microphones. And when you listen to, especially the acoustic guitars, you can barely hear any of the electric guitar in those two microphones. And so let's just listen again, and I'll bring up both Clayton's microphone and the acoustic guitar microphones one at a time, and you'll be able to hear just how little electric guitar is in those two microphones. Lastly, I wanted to add in some sort of ambient microphone that will kind of help us to glue the whole track together. It's going to pick up some of that electric guitar. It's going to pick up Clayton as he's singing and the acoustic guitar. And so I picked my favorite stereo microphone to use as a room microphone, and that's an AKG 422. This has two capsules. They're stacked up on top of one another. It's essentially like having two 414s. Both capsules are recorded separately, and so you actually get two tracks for this, the left and right, and they're sort of in an X pattern, and they're both in figure 8. So I'm going to show you what that microphone sounds like by itself, and then I'm going to also blend it in with the track.
Take me anywhere but there. Leave me anywhere, anywhere for now. Then my haunted house.
So what are you going to do if you need to try to pull something like this off, but you don't have a live room at a studio, or you're not going to go and pay for studio time? You want to just be able to record this, with some friends or something like that. Or maybe even you do have a client, but you don't have a spot. You just have a one-room home studio. How can you pull something like this off? The first thing that came to my mind was maybe you've got a friend or a relative that's got an entryway in their home that's got, a big 15-foot, 16-foot ceiling, something like that, 2 floors, maybe stairs going up to it, some kind of room like that where you could set an ambient microphone up high, you could have the performers performing down low, and you get the close mics and you get all your close mic positions, and then add in that stereo room microphone. I think that would be a great way to go. And you have the natural light coming in from maybe a window behind them. You position everybody just right. And then you take your electric guitar amplifier and you put it somewhere out of the way, not next to the performer, but in the other room, so that you can sort of emulate the same result of putting an amplifier behind a gobo. You can still hear the amplifier as you're performing, but it's a little bit further away, and it's not going to bleed too much into your close microphones on your singer as they're playing and singing with their acoustic guitar at the same time. That'd be a great way to pull something like this off. If you've got any questions, though, I would love to be able to answer those questions. You can drop them in the comments below, and I will try to answer any questions that come through about how to set up something like this and pull it off with similar success. Thanks for watching. I've been Matt. This is Capsule to Cone, and I will see you in the next video.